Today on The Game Changers, I'm joined by Sarah Bern, one of the most celebrated players in world rugby. A World Cup winner with the Red Roses and a cornerstone of Bristol Bears front row, Sarah's renowned for her explosive running game, her dominance in the scrum and her fearless leadership on and off the pitch. But Sarah's story is about more than winning medals. From struggling with body image as a teenager to becoming a proud role model for strong, muscular women, Sarah has reshaped perceptions of what a female athlete can look like. She's inspiring the next generation, not just with her performances, but with her honesty, courage and her joy for the game of rugby. So Sarah, firstly, massive congratulations winning the World Cup at Twickenham in front of 82,000. What did that moment mean to you personally as you finally got your hands on that beautiful trophy?
Well, firstly, thank you for that lovely introduction. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say all those nice things about me, but tearing up a little bit. No, I'm very flattered. Yeah, winning the trophy. First of all, the 82,000, absolutely incredible to essentially nearly just sell out. We were so close, but that is ridiculous that we're even saying, oh, we were so close. Considering from where we've come from, when we got the bus in, it was just phenomenal. The streets were full. And when we got the 60,000, that was really special when we played against France. And it was the first time we thought, wow, people are interested and invested in us. But coming into the 80,000, we had the queues of people on the floor, but the stands, it was up on the stand and around the south stand spiral staircase.
It's amazing, wasn't it?
Heads everywhere looking over the balcony, and that, there's that iconic picture that I think our lovely media people took. And I will literally remember that we were all sat on the bus going, wow, look up there, that's phenomenal. And just our fans are amazing, they're so amazing. They just want us to do well. And I think that's really special as well with the World Cup final and England being in it. It was essentially, it looked like a stadium full of about 80,000 English fans and 2,000 of every other nation. It was an incredible experience. It hasn't even sunk in. I've been asked a lot, and everyone has, and we've probably all got the same answer. It's phenomenal, but we're speechless. We're lost for words. To actually get your hands on that trophy is pure joy, but relief, but excitement, but so many different emotions, and just proud to be able to represent our country and say, look guys, not only have we won this World Cup that we have worked incredibly hard for, we're hopefully changing the game for women's rugby and helping women's sport all over the world.
Absolutely. And is there a moment, you talked about that, seeing the South Stand with everyone looking over as the coach came in, but is there another snapshot memory of the game that you think will stay with you forever as you kind of look back in your old age?
I think for me personally, coming on to a game where we were a little bit in front, but we weren't massively in front, and it was a little bit of a Canada coming back in and having it being a scrum. And I think it's when you get subbed on, you're the one thing you don't want to go straight into is a scrum, because it's the ultimate pressure point. So we came on and we got that amazing penalty, and for me, I just remember thinking ball of excitement just came over me and was this confidence of let's go and do it now. And yeah, that was definitely a defining moment for me as a front rower, obviously. But I think just seeing Zoe Allcroft burst into tears after the whistle had blown, and just being her roommate, I know how much she gives everything, we all do, but Zoe is just different gravy since she was 17 years old. And there was a time where she wasn't in the squad for certain tournaments, and now you think, wow, that's just absolutely, how could you ever not take Zoe Allcroft somewhere? And she's the most amazing captain we could have ever asked for. And I'm just so much joy to see her that happy and just all that emotion just released.
I loved it. The beautiful, happy, ugly tears, weren't they? It was proper sobbing, emotional tears there. I love so much about the day. I think for me, one of the most powerful moments was when we were in the stadium, the camera panned to you all in the tunnel. I get goosebumps now. As you're waiting to walk out to the stadium and just looking at people's faces. And we were out there, so we knew the noise and because the sounds and the sights. And I was thinking, what are you thinking? So what were your thoughts as you were there, knowing you were coming out into this cauldron, as it were?
I think for me it was excitement. I was this is everything that we have ever worked for, not just for the last 3 years, but to sell out Twickenham Stadium for a home World Cup final, that is something not very many players get to be a part of. And also that's something we've been working on my whole 9-10 years of my England rugby career, all building up to that one point of becoming a World Cup champion. So, yeah, it was excitement. I remember Maud, like, because of the amount of people there, Maud literally turned to me and she was like, I feel a bit wobbly. And I was like, you'll be great. Don't worry, you're always great, Maud. Like, you'll be amazing. And she was like, no, not to play, to that I'm going to cry in the anthem.
Lovely.
I think it was just overwhelming amount of support and excitement from the fans. Like, we felt that, and that, that you can't help but it brings out an emotion because you're so proud and thankful for them and to be able to be in the position you are at that point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. You've obviously experienced 2 previous World Cup finals that didn't have such happy endings. So how did those memories impact the way that you handled this one?
Yeah, I've had quite a journey, I think. When I was younger, I was very much, I'm going to be the best in the world and I'm going to do everything, and kind of that, like, Johnny Wilkinson mentality, need to do everything, need to be the best in the gym, best in nutrition, or not in terms of like competitiveness, but more so for me to be like, I've done everything I can do. So doing that, kind of in that middle. So we're playing in 2017. I was a baby. I didn't know how to scrummage personally. I just was put there, and I was winging it. But it was great fun, and I loved it. And I was playing with Emily Scarrett, Katie Daly-McLean, Danielle Waterman, like all these players that I'd watched growing up, because I was very lucky to be at London Irish and Isha Rugby Club where they played a lot. I was in total awe of all of that. So first World Cup, really exciting. And I remember being like, well, I'm playing with all these legends, so we're definitely going to win. Like, because I was just like an 18-year-old. I was like, obviously, like, these are the best players ever. And we didn't. And after that, I thought, no, I'm going to do everything. And that's where that mentality came in. And in 2022 was obviously tricky with COVID and all that kind of uncertainty around what's it going to look like. Are we going to play? Are we not going to play? Have we trained enough? Have we had the ability to have time together? That probably for me kind of drove it even more I need to be on it even more because there's all these different distractions. We kind of came out with the same result. I think I was a little bit like I've just spent so much of my time so incredibly focused that I probably had a lot of blind spots that I wasn't probably aware of, whether that was I didn't see enough of my family or I didn't hang out with friends enough and things like that. So I think I made a big conscious effort because I was so sad when we lost that World Cup final that actually, this time around I really want to enjoy it. I want to try and, enjoy the fans, enjoy the experience, because you never know, like, it could go like that.
Yeah.
Injury or selection or whatever. So this World Cup, I was I think I had a significant knee injury the last season, so I missed out a big chunk of England in that time frame. But then coming back, I thought I'm gonna relish in this. Like, I want to be joyful, I want to enjoy, I want to be confident in myself. And actually I found doing things on social media where you're having fun with the crowd and engaging with people and like actually genuinely talking to people about their experiences has helped me to really kind of find my feet in my own skin, if that makes sense. And helped me, I think, to just get the hard work right and also just the fun and silliness that we can all tend to miss out on when we desperately are trying to achieve something.
And it feels like from the outside looking in, but that's a culture of the whole team. Seems that, and people have said that kind of team bonding, etc. But it really does feel like there's a lot of fun being had there. Do you feel that's a shift from, not that they weren't happy teams before, but do you feel that's a distinctive shift in this team in terms of the culture?
I think, I don't think it was that we're not happy. I think people just really wanted to work hard and be professional. And I think rugby in particular, because at that point in time we were very much seen as we have to mimic the men in order for it to be successful. And it was like, oh, well, when you do media, these are your points in the media, and like you can say this much but not too much. And I think kind of very much that kind of stoic male presence. And I think especially, for me, working with Alona at Bristol Bears, Alona Mar, and I kind of was like, people don't want that. Like, they want to see us, they want to see who we are. We're not big enough as a sport for us to be stoic and kind of all the same carbon copy, because we need to grow our sports, we need to entertain people, and that's what we're in. We're in the entertainment business at the end of the day. So actually kind of break those barriers. You can be fun and silly, and you can be incredibly hardworking and very successful. They can both coexist. And I think we all really lent into that and thought, if we're having fun and we get to show our fun side, that will ultimately show on the pitch.
And clearly it did. And I love that Alan Gilpin, head of World Rugby, has said actually the men's game needs to learn a little bit from the women and what we've been doing. That's what we've all been waiting for in women's sport, for men to finally look across and say they could emulate and do a bit of what the women's game and women's sport has done too. You've said, I mean, leading on from that, because obviously there's the piece about you as a successful team, but then how that impacts the public too. And you've said that the tournament obviously is more than about winning, that it's the legacy. So how do you feel, you hope that the World Cup will impact women's rugby, but women's sport more broadly?
I think for women rugby, it's proven people want to come to games. People want to tune in on TV. Like some incredible stats, 5 million was that the final, and 12 million in total reach, or like absolutely phenomenal stats. And we keep talking about it, but selling out Twickenham Stadium, selling out other venues that we have been in the whole World Cup, like the appetite is there. So I think as from a rugby player's perspective, like I hope people invest in women's rugby and see it as a, like you say, it's its own identity, its own creation. We can take it wherever we want to take it. Like, yes, the rules of the game are the same as the men's, but everything around that can be different. It can be whatever we want it to be, and we can make it entertaining for people to come and enjoy and watch. So that's one thing, but also hopefully showing young girls and young boys, or actually, to be honest, anyone, that they have a place in the world. And that's something that's really close to my heart, is that you can be tall, big, small, short, strong, fast, and there's the place for you on that rugby pitch. And even if you're none of those things and you're not sporty, seeing how much fun that all the teams have had, get involved in that. And you can be a team manager, you can be a nutritionist, you can be S&C, you can be logistics manager. There's so many roles for people to get involved in sport, but the main thing is the connection and bringing a whole community of people together to celebrate something that is pretty fun and cool to watch. And if anything, I feel like we all just wander this planet looking for joy. Why not keep sharing that?
It's my motto in life, follow the joy. That is my strapline. So I love that. That's the same too there. Just to talk a little bit about your journey in rugby specifically. So you moved from that back row position into being a tighthead prop. So quite different positions. How did that change how you felt as an athlete and your kind of role within the team?
Yeah, so I first started, I was always a bigger kid. I wasn't necessarily you wouldn't notice I was really big, but I was always bigger and broader and taller. And even my head, I've got a giant head. I'm just born bigger, and I was literally just born like that. So for me, it was growing up, I started as a prop. I got put there first straight away, just based on appearance, and then started playing. And then they were, oh, no, move her to number 8. She's a really good ball carrier. And then actually, because I did a lot of athletics when I was younger, not to high standard, but I just really enjoyed running and doing all different types of sports. Then in secondary school, I moved to centre, so I played a lot of my childhood in the centres. Even I think I've played 10 and 9 for county at some points, which I'd never put me in a 9 shirt. Never. That's not my strength. Got to try it. And then, I settled as a back rower in England under-20s, and I still had this giant pair of shoulders on me. And the coach came in and was like, I want to make you a tighthead. And I was like, yeah, no, thank you. I don't want to do that. And Matt Ferguson, he was our coach at the time, so he left and he came back. But the issue was I was really good at all the body management stuff, the little individual skills we do, which is bear calls. I don't know, I won't get too technical, but I just really enjoyed that bit of body movements. He came back in and he was like, look, I've got some injuries and I really need a tighthead. And he was like, I'm not saying that you would never play for England as a back row, because you're a good player, but I've got loads of really good back row players right now, but I need a tighthead and I think I can get you there quick. And I said no again because I didn't want to be a prop in my head.
What did you not want at the time? What was it?
In my head, it was a stigma of kind of the old lads clubs, that it was always your bigger men who, and that, no offense to them, absolutely lovely guys, but I didn't see that as a feminine role. I didn't see that as a powerful role, where now you look at it and you go, wow, look at the props. You've got Ed Spenge, you've got Hannah Botsman, you've got all these players that are really strong and powerful and fast. So, but at the time you didn't really have too much of that, or I didn't know about it anyway. I didn't want to, and I had a big thing about, I was always bigger and I didn't want to be bigger. I wanted to be smaller. I wanted to be the shape that people find or associate with femininely, and beautiful, and that kind of those body images standards, that those kind of ideals that get pressed onto kids or women of any age, to be honest, not just children. And I did grow up around some eating disorders, some difficulties with shape, and my family were heavily involved in dance and fashion, and I wanted to continue to be like my family and enjoy it, and I do that. And I didn't see myself in that. I didn't see anyone who looked like me ever.
From what age? Around what age were you not first aware of that and wanting to?
Always. I remember being little. I did ballet, but I had a little pot belly. I wasn't big. I just had a little pot belly, and had big broad shoulders. And I just remember being like, I don't look like everyone here. Like,
And you got a sister.
yeah, I've got two
Two
sisters.
sisters.
They're 10 years older than me. When I was little, they were obviously in their teenage years. Yeah, I just remember looking at like magazines and stuff and being like, I don't look like that. Why do I not look like that? Or like, yeah, the clothes wouldn't fit me right. Like, it wasn't that they wouldn't fit. They just didn't fit like right the way that they meant. I think I was very conscious of that from a young age, and I think when I went to secondary school, that's when you're most insecure, isn't it? When you first go to secondary school and you're trying to meet new friends, and your body's changing anyway, and you want to fit in. You're desperately trying to fit in, which is so crazy because when you get to university, you're
You're
desperately trying to
different.
stand out. It is such a bizarre concept, but yeah, and I struggled with diet and overtraining, and lost loads of weight actually, but it got really praised. Like, it got praised because that's what society sees as healthy and fit. But the reality was I wasn't healthy and fit. I was definitely fit because I was doing loads of exercise, but it wasn't in a healthy way. And I remember going to rugby camp, and I was terrible at rugby. I was getting absolutely shot left, right, and centre. I couldn't ball carry, and that was my strength, was ball carrying. And I remember like sitting up and talking to my friend at the time in the like dorm room, and I was like, I think I gotta eat more food. I was like, I think I gotta eat more food. I was like, I'm way too tired, and that's when I really started to like dial in on um, kind of how body image, and actually being an athlete is more than what you look like. And that's why I was so stubborn to move to tighter prop, because I felt like I'd really come away from that as a
Yeah.
kid. But then yeah, Matt Ferguson, he sat me down and he was like, okay, look, like, I give you a deal. If you do this for me, I will get you to a World Cup. I was like, obviously 18 years old, like, bit cocky, and I was like, I'll do it, but handshake, you have to make me the best prop in the world. Oh, I'm not doing it. And then he went to hand it, and I went, and also I want to play sevens because I wanted to play in the Olympics. That was my dream, like,
Yeah.
player. And he was like, yeah, fine, fine, fine. So he shook my hand, and then I've not played sevens since 2017, but he definitely did a good job at teaching me how to be a tight end prop. So fair play to him.
And you've put this reputation for being one of the most explosive props in the game. So I think that's fascinating, isn't it? That playing style of being able to combine both. That's almost what makes you unique, but very different to others out there. So how do you train? Because I feel like slightly different in terms of that training for power and strength versus training for speed, the part that you're so renowned for.
I love speed training. Like, I absolutely love it. I'm not one of those fools where they're like, "Oh, we're doing speed today," and they go, "Oh no, I can't do it." I love it. Like, I love learning how to do it properly. I was really like quite not in a bad way, but I was very geeky around how do I become like the best. Like, I just genuinely wanted this inner drive since I was about, I don't know, really little. But I think for rugby specifically, probably from the age of like 12, where I was like, I remember if I didn't have a game, I'd set up a obstacle course where I would just get tackling. Yeah, like mum would look outside and why is she just running in circles outside, like in the garden. So I was just very driven.
Your personality generally, that you want something and you'll go for it. And
Yeah, I would say all my family are very hardworking, so I think that was kind of instilled in us. But also, we enjoy like having fun at the same time. So I think that's the bit where I kind of lent way too hard at like being so driven, and now I'm kind of really getting the funness element back into it. So yeah, no, I was just so driven when I was a youngster. Well, and even now, I'm still driven, but I guess my goals have slightly shifted a little bit.
And for those of us that have never been in a scrum like me, can you take us a little bit into the psychology? Because I think it is a fascinating area of the game that others, we've all run and we've all kicked balls, but actually to be in the scrum, what happens in those moments before the opposing teams meet? What's the psychology going on there?
It's actually very interesting because if you speak to, I don't know, maybe a backs coach or someone, not to name it, Lou Meadows, and she just like, all you do is just bend over, don't you? Just bend over and push, ha ha ha. And then you got like your flankers behind you, like screaming, like, yeah, scrum. But actually, for me, you have that inner element of like, yeah, like scrum, I'm gonna dominate, like I'm gonna dominate you. But it's actually more of a chess game. It's more of a, okay, so it's very, very strategic in setup. It's because you're working with 8 people, but realistically, you've got 3 people at the front that are going to control where this goes. And the back 5 are this raw power coming through the middle of it. So you're the drivers of that power. It's very much, okay, what's my process? So you could like foot, bind, head, whatever that looks like for you. Calm, and then when it's like you're there, it's then the aggression to snap and hold it there because it's uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie, it's uncomfortable.
It's painful or just
No,
as
no, no, it's not
discomfort?
painful. It's just you imagine doing like a maximum squat and you're at the bottom of a maximum squat. And then you're also playing chess at the same time. But you're also like quite aggressively playing chess. It's a position you're never in day-to-day life. So it is something that you really do have to train. And it's never gonna go perfect. Never ever. And once you get one scrum, and you've like, oh, I've worked this out, I'm going to get them again. Someone else has changed something, and you might be going backwards at that point. So it's a real learning game. It is a dark art, and sometimes it's just about painting good pictures for referees.
We hear that a lot from the commentary, don't we? And do you enjoy it? Are you pleased when there's a scrum?
Yeah, yeah. Well, depend.
It's where it is in the game.
Cut off number point now. 10 scrums, all right. Anything getting higher, not for me, thanks, no. But I'm more of a runner though, so I love playing attacking rugby. So if there's like 20 minutes of the game where there's no scrums, I'm in my element. I'm going great. I feel so fit and ready to go. As soon as there's a scrum, because the weight of it takes it out of your legs. And then you've got the 9 going, get round the corner, get round the corner. You're like, you get round the corner. I'm seeing stars. But yeah, no, it is good. I've always loved learning, like I was saying, like about the speed and the power and stuff. Like I really enjoy S&C, the Richard strength and conditioning, and all that kind of in-depth knowledge about it. So like, I do enjoy it. Yeah.
We talked earlier. You talked about that fact that rugby is such an amazing sport because it really thrives on body diversity, and you have become this really visible role model, as I mentioned in the introduction, but for strong, muscular, athletic women, and you're regularly sharing posts now. So how important do you think it is, that representation across social media to younger women, but women of all ages?
I think it's so important, and I think it got to a point where I was like, well, if I'm feeling like this, I've a household of women. I live in a household of women, like my family is predominantly women, and I mean, my sisters look totally different to me, and they still have the same insecurities, just worded a different way. So I was like, if you feel like that, and I feel like that, well, there must be so many women, and I've never ever met a woman that's truly, truly gone, "Oh, I love everything about me." Like, I just don't think it's in our nature. Like, we are, as like women, we don't believe in ourselves massively, and it's because society's just not set up for us to have that kind of innate belief in ourselves. And actually, we do have to tell ourselves, and it's not easy to wake up every day and go, oh, I love myself, I'm going to be great today, I'm a great person. Like, that's just not life, because life can be difficult and things come up, and you always got a little voice in the back of your head going, oh, I don't know if I can do this, I don't know if I can do this. But I think for me, what I realised is that why don't we share that more? Because it is very easy to think, oh, that's just in my head. Like, they don't have it. Look how amazing they are. They don't have those thoughts. And that's not true at all. Like, everybody has thoughts and insecurities. So why don't we share them a bit more? And actually, maybe me doing that, I might help, some younger kids growing up who have that pressure. I think it's even worse now with social media, have a pressure to kind of be perfect. And it's so funny that we all chase perfection, because it's not real, it's not there. And also, if we were meant to be perfect, we would be. But the whole world is created of imperfection. And actually, if you look at like the 7 wonders of the world, or whatever, the natural wonders, they're wonderful because they are so unique and different. So it's crazy that we celebrate in nature things that are so different, so amazing, but within ourselves and in society, it's kind of, we banish it. We don't want it. We want everyone to look the same. I just think that's, I just want to bring that element back, that actually just because you're different doesn't mean you're not beautiful. It doesn't mean your worth is any less.
And your posts have been so powerful. My kids have tell me about, whether it's the TikToks, but all that you're sharing. I think it was about a year ago, you said you were kind of anxious about sharing yourself online, but you seem to have completely embraced that now on social media. So what was the turning point then? You mentioned Ilona Maher, her presence at Bristol Bears. In fact, her whole family has clearly had a huge kind of impact. So what does she unlock for you personally? Was that the tipping point for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think when Ilona first came into Bristol, she was this huge, star. She was I always was like, someone saying, "Oh, Jennifer Aniston's coming to train with you." Like, you're like, what? Like, in the rugby world, like, she's massive. So when she came in, but she was the first, I guess, kind of star that I've ever met, like, on a close level, where she's exactly the same as how she presents on social media. There's no different, like, and it's the same with all her family, and that's why I say, like, her family are lovely as well, because what you see on social media, that is them, and they're just a really, like, gorgeous group of people that when you spend time with them, like, you feel, they bring you up, they pump your tires, like, as well as, like, you're going around going, wow, you're amazing. Like, they literally, that's just how they are as people. So they're like little rays of sunshine, and I think I was like, wow, you can just be who you are. Like, you don't have to fit into things. Like, you don't have to make yourself small. You don't have to do what people say all the time. Like, you can just be you and be really strong and brave within that. There's, like, a real kind of brave element to being so vulnerable with things, and that's actually how you change the world. Like, and I think going back to your point about, like, maybe being anxious about, like, negative comments and things like that. Well, if you're making real change, people aren't going to agree. I think that's why I kind of leaned into it. If people weren't commenting certain things, or I'm not saying that they should, but, people want to give their opinion, and everyone has the freedom to do that, and that's the great thing about the world. But it means that we're catching their attention. There's a conversation happening there, and actually we might change some minds along the way. So yeah, negativity is never great, and obviously there's a point where you go, okay, that's enough now. But actually, the fact that we're even getting comments like that is creating conversation, creating change.
It does feel like such a genuine friendship, and you've clearly got such respect for each other as players as well. Do you still struggle with your self-image today? Is that still something that you have to overcome?
Yeah, for sure, and I'm pretty sure, like, Ilona probably does every day as well. Like, we are women, like, we are still women. We're not superheroes. And actually, sometimes, I look at my own post and go, oh, why are you getting grumpy? Or why are you annoyed that this shirt is, like, looks a bit funny on this bit of, like... It's so easy to become so fixated on the way we look, and it's because the world is built. The world is built like that, and that, that's okay. But also, you've got to remember the most amazing things that you're doing outside of that. And that's why the positive comments on social media, the amount of amazing messages I get, the amount of amazing people I've got to meet, and that have inspired me by having the opportunity to meet them. Like, that's why I want to do it. And hopefully, okay, maybe yes, generations that have passed never had the opportunity to feel confident in their own skin because they didn't have role models, and I didn't necessarily have a role model either, like Ilona. But if me, Ilona, other people, other rugby girls, or anyone really can start talking about it, hopefully it will create a generation in, I don't know, 20 years' time that go, no, we're pretty comfortable with how we are. And yeah, just because you're different to me doesn't mean you're any less valuable.
Fantastic. And obviously that driving social change and attitudes is really important. But Ilona's also been really frank about the fact that the social media following and engagement, it's that element that enables her to commercialise her involvement in the sport too, because she's not going to do it just through playing the sport, unfortunately. So is there an element of that as to your approach with that, or other Red Roses too, seeing that as an opportunity, the commercial side?
Yeah, definitely. I think it would be silly to say for any women's sport athlete, and there's a crazy fact, I can't remember exactly, but it's something like 90% of women female athletes rely on...
There.
3/4 of their income is commercial value. Yeah. It's something.
And the men's is the opposite of that, isn't it? The men's is that they're getting their money from playing their sport rather than the stuff. Yeah. I heard that quite recently too. I was blown away.
It's wild, and also it's so wild because we don't get that much coverage either. So you're thinking about how hard all these female athletes are working to get those deals, to be successful, have that life. And on the flip side, it's just totally opposite. So yeah, definitely people we want to close the gap. Like we would love for it to be equal men, women treated equally, but that's just again that's just not where we are right now. So yeah, working in those commercial spaces. Also, if we're in commercial spaces, we're in mainstream sport, in mainstream media. More people we can help and hopefully encourage them to come to rugby because, like I say, there's a place for everyone there. So the more joy we can spread.
You mentioned that mainstream media, but in the build up to the tournament, you were featured in Vogue and you've partnered with Barbie. So how does that feel? Is that a bit surreal to be in those places and for women's rugby to be celebrated in those places too?
That was the most wildest week of my life. I mean, until recently, yeah. We had a call about it all started actually after Six Nations, and I had a call that I was in the Pride Independence Pride list, and I was like, oh wow, thinking that's really cool. I didn't know too much about it, and then I was like looking, I was like, Elton John's on this list. I was like, I ranked higher than Elton John on the Pride list. What's happening here? Like I said, because I genuinely just want to be my authentic self, and if that helps people, that helps people. So it was amazing to be a part of that. And then following on from that, Barbie were like, oh, we really want you to be on the Barbie shoot. And that was I just never thought that ever. I never saw myself as a Barbie. Like, never, ever. So, like, the fact that, I don't want to get emotional, but, like, the fact that then, yeah, I think, give me a second. The fact that, like, there was an opportunity to show young kids with something that's so prevalent like Barbie, being the sponsor for that you genuinely can be whoever you are and whoever you want to be, and you can still be beautiful, sexy, and all that kind of thing that's associated with Barbie, like, is just like, yeah, as you can see.
It means so much, yeah, and will mean so much for so many other girls that are coming to that for the first time. It's so powerful.
And the same with Vogue, it's a top fashion magazine, and like grew up around fashion. I absolutely love it. So that was like a real milestone. And also it was kind of nice to go to my sister who used to work in the fashion industry, be like, hey, I'm in Vogue.
Have you been in Vogue? Yeah.
So that was pretty cool as well. You got good bragging rights.
And talking of fashion, so you've launched a new brand, Below the Shoulder. So tell us a little bit about that, what inspired you and some of the other players to come together in that space.
So what inspired us was firstly Emma Swords. She is my best friend since we were 12 years old. We played rugby together.
I didn't know that. That's so lovely.
So we first met at London Irish. I think she's a year older than me. So yeah, she was in 2 years older than me. She might have been like 13, 14, and I was 12 years old, and we just were best friends since then. So, we've not always been like close because obviously rugby takes you here, there, and everywhere. But we've always been. She calls herself my constant, which I don't know if she's meant to give yourself that slogan. Yeah, yeah. So she's like lovely, absolutely like my rocks. We were watching like there's no real like fashion rugby. Like you see football and fashion now, huge. Football shirts everywhere, and we were like, it's not really happening with rugby too much. Yes, you have the rugby style kind of vintage shirts. I feel like we can really push this more, and Emma came up with this deck, and we were like, well, yeah, why not? And Jess and Zoe were like, we're in, like, we want to be, they love fashion as well, so they were like, we want to make a brand that people can relate to, that is rugby, but it's also really cool and stylish, and let's take rugby, like we say, into mainstream fashion, because football's done it, so why can't we? And that's kind of how it was born.
And it's Jess Breach, in terms of the four of you, with Jess Breach
and Zoe Harrison.
Zoe Harrison, yeah, lovely.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so then it was very quick turnaround to get it before World Cup because there's like commercial restrictions on it. Got it all done, got it up, and yeah, it kind of exploded, which was really cool. And now we're gonna make some more products, TBC, coming out of just some different. It'll still be like that kind of stylish, kind of magazine shoot kind of style that we really want to push, but it will definitely all still be rugby.
And a lovely, kind of irreverent logos. I mean, that's a piece about it, isn't it? It's a bit, not tongue-in-cheek, but I like that. That's the element about it that makes it so cool.
Yeah, and that's what, you look at your rock and roll stars, you look at like your pop stars, it's all a little bit rebellious, it's all a little bit kind of reframing what should be right and what should be wrong, or even actually getting rid of all labels. And we kind of wanted to be a part of that rebellious. We all are, in our own way, a little bit rebellious anyway, so we thought Why not tongue in cheek? There's so much tongue in cheek in rugby anyway, so let's make it fashionable.
I had to fight hard last night to get myself one of the Feel the Burn t-shirts at So London on Regent Street, and they sold out of every size. I literally did. More stock coming today, and apparently they had a queue outside the store on Sunday morning after the game on Saturday with girls wanting to get Red Roses merch for the future. So it's just so wonderful. I mean, how does that make you feel as a player to know there is that whole other market? And actually we saw that, obviously the hats and everything else around it, but you could just see, I love that there's so much variety of players creating their own things and new opportunities.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. Like, honestly blown away that there was queues trying to get into the store. It's a really cool store. It's a great idea in the first place, because why shouldn't we celebrate the summer of sport? Like, why shouldn't we buy merchandise? And it was a really cool opportunity that just popped up, and we were like, cool, let's run with it. And then it went crazy, and we keep running out of stock. I've got so many messages like, can you get more stock? I'm like, yeah, let me figure that out. I don't know how, but yeah.
I'm trying to also train and play for in a World Cup and everything else, but leave it with me. Interviews.
Like, your message, let me forward it on. Like, because when my friend Izzy Noel-Smith, actually, she used to play for England. She was the back row for Bristol Bears as well. She was like, mate, there's no kid sizes. And I was like, hang on a minute, let's sort that out. So literally then the next day there was kid sizes up on the websites.
They tried to offer me a child size yesterday. I don't know what I was thinking when I tried that on in the change room, but yeah.
Well, they are oversized, so
No, even so.
But yeah, so it's just, yeah, it's been crazy. And like that just shows as well, again, there's such a commercial appetite. There's such a demand for learning about each individual person, not just the player, but them as people. Like, what could they design? What would that look like? And it's just everything that we have. Seems to be like everything that we've touched as Red Roses has just shot off the shelves. Maybe in like I was saying, like how we have the men's game and the women's game and they get compared really easily. It's all about ticket sales, bums on seats. And actually I wonder in the women's game, who's the biggest consumers? Women and families and children. And who's our biggest market? Women's, family and children. So actually maybe if we focus more on the commercial element and change kind of that financial element of it, we'll get more investment into our sport. We'll get more nations having more support behind them. I mean, the Irish girls with their fleeces.
Oh my God, I know. That was amazing, wasn't it?
Absolutely phenomenal. And like that, again, that shows like they have done so well this year, and like they have one item of kit that like have just gone wild. Like, sell them, commercialize it, get it out, get more.
You should just say what happened there. There were people at games holding up like free the fleece, holding things, and then they eventually got a whole load of them made, and they were like sold out in an hour in all sizes. It was incredible.
It was crazy. So it just shows like there's such a demand for it, and hopefully that makes it more appealing to sponsors, and hopefully that means that we can get more professional female athletes and we can really start to push our game forward.
And obviously we've said that the women's game is changing so fast and growing so fast, but if you could pick one change that you'd like to see kind of globally or domestically that would move the needle even faster for the game, what would that be?
That's such a tricky question.
Throw that in the end.
It's a great question. It's a very good question. I think I can't pick. I've got so many thoughts going through my head. The one thing I would like to change, I think definitely the one that's probably the biggest elephant in the room is that gender equality, no matter what that looks like. So whether that's in financially or even just opinions about how, maybe women aren't as big, so then they don't work as hard because it's less energy. Like, crazy things like that. Or women's estrogen will put off men and stuff like that. Like, it's just, I just think that that would be the biggest thing for me, is just to be seen as an athlete, that what is happening on the pitch, and not as a gender, I think. But that's not just in rugby, that's in all sports across the world. And if we can get that equality, kind of that stigma attached, or even like get that archaic view out the way, I think women's sport, it already is taking off, but I think it will launch not only women's sport, it will launch men's and women's. Like, it will help everyone grow. So let's go for it.
It's really interesting that there's stuff within women's sport at the moment where it's like, we need to bring the male fans across because and I've always thought, yeah, we do if they want to watch, but actually there's this massive audience that's never come to sport, has never really seen sport. And I think from the sales of the merchandise and the people in the stands, and yeah, their dads and boyfriends can come with them, but actually there's this huge untapped audience of fans out there that haven't really had sport at all, and women's sport can be the place where they feel included and connected and all those things that we saw in the stadium.
Yeah, definitely. And there's no judgment. Like if you don't know the rules, no one cares because there's a great song about to come on when someone scores a try. Like that's absolutely fine. And that's kind of what we want. I think, yeah, it's so nice to be there. And there was so many people at Battersea. We were very fortunate to go to Battersea Power Station to lift the trophy. And there was people in the crowds there that were like, I don't know any of the rules. I don't know what a prop is, but I really like you and I like the team. And that, like, you're like, great, come along. We want everyone there for the ride. So yeah, that's what I do love about it.
And just finally, when people talk about Sarah Bern in the future, in 10 years, couple of decades' time, what do you hope that they will say about what you helped to change in the game or society?
I think my real passion is that I just help people to feel like they can be themselves. I think that's probably it. Like, oh, like she inspired me just to be myself and go and attack life because, like life's tricky anyway. We don't need to beat ourselves up around as well. And I just hope people realize that if they can do that. And it's definitely hard for so many people that their potential is limitless. Yeah, I want people to be kinder to themselves and therefore kinder to each other.